Have you ever had your own mother, a licensed real estate agent, forge your signature and secretly list your $1.15 million lake house for sale, without you knowing anything? My name is Julie Morrison. I'm 32 years old. 3 months ago, that's exactly what mine did. She sat right here in my Portland living room, looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Natalie's having twins. She deserves her own space more than you do. Just donate the house to your sister." What she didn't know, I had already sold it, quietly, to my boss. And on November 15th, 2025, at exactly 3:42 in the afternoon, my father used his spare key, walked straight into what he thought was still my property, and stepped into a room full of 80 people: architects, designers, journalists, my boss's annual gala. My sister was right there, live streaming the entire thing on Instagram. That single moment destroyed everything they tried to hide. And what came next? Tore my family apart in ways they will never recover from. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. But only if this story of family betrayal and quiet revenge truly resonates with you. Let me take you back. Because this story doesn't start with forgery or a break-in. It starts with a woman named Miriam Morrison, my great-aunt. The only person in my family who ever really saw me. Aunt Miriam was my father's older sister, 68 when she passed in June of 2022. She never married, never had children. She was a landscape painter, not famous, but good. The kind of artist who sold just enough paintings to buy herself a life on her own terms. And in 1998, she bought a lake house in Crater Lake, Oregon. 4,100 square feet. Vaulted ceilings, a deck overlooking the water. Windows that framed the kind of sunsets you'd pay money to photograph. She bought it with the money from selling her art, and it became her masterpiece. I was 19 when I first drove down to visit her, 3 hours and 45 minutes from Portland. She made me coffee, handed me a camera, and said, "Julie, come shoot the light with me." That was 2014. I went back every weekend for the next 8 years. Every single weekend. I'd leave Portland Saturday morning, drive down Highway 62, stop at the Starbucks at exit 62 for my ritual grande cold brew, and pull into her driveway by noon. We'd spend the day photographing mountains, lake reflections, her paintings in progress. I'd bring wine, Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley. We'd sit on her deck and talk about art, about beauty, about what it means to build something that lasts. My parents visited maybe twice a year. Christmas, her birthday in July. They'd send cards the rest of the time. My sister Natalie, she tagged Aunt Miriam on Facebook once a year. Maybe, but I showed up. 416 trips over 8 years. Aunt Miriam used to joke about it. "They're busy, Julie," she'd say, pouring me another glass of wine. "But you're always here. You remember that, okay?" I remember. On June 3rd, 2022, I was driving down to see her. I didn't make it. She'd had a stroke that morning. By the time I got the call, she was already gone. I cried for 3 hours and 45 minutes on the drive back to Portland. The will reading was June 28th, 2022. Attorney's office in Medford. James Whitford. My parents showed up in black. Natalie wore sunglasses indoors. I wore jeans and the flannel shirt Aunt Miriam had given me for my 30th birthday. Whitford cleared his throat. "Miriam Morrison's estate is straightforward. The house at 8820 Crater Lake Highway, appraised at $1.15 million, goes to Julie Morrison. In full. No conditions?" My mother's jaw tightened. My father stared at the table. Natalie took off her sunglasses and looked at me like I'd stolen something. Then Whitford said, "There's also a video message." He turned his laptop around. Aunt Miriam sat in her living room, Crater Lake sunset behind her, iPad propped on the coffee table. The timestamp read June 3rd, 2022, 4:18 p.m., hours before the stroke. Her voice was steady. If you're watching this, I've passed. And someone, probably Evelyn or Philip, is questioning why I left this house to Julie, and only Julie. Here's why. For 8 years, she drove nearly 4 hours every single weekend to sit with me, to listen, to see beauty the way I see it. My daughter Evelyn and my son Philip sent cards twice a year. My granddaughter Natalie tagged me on Facebook once in 2019. Julie showed up. If Evelyn or Philip tries to take this house from Julie, by manipulation, coercion, or any other means, they are no longer my children in spirit. Julie is my legacy. This house is hers. End of story. 47 seconds. That's all it took. The attorney handed me 2 sets of keys. Your aunt's primary set, and a spare I kept in the office safe. Your parents also have a spare key from 2015, when your aunt gave it to them for emergencies. I looked at the brass Schlage keys in my hand. Should I ask for it back? Whitford shrugged. That's your decision. The property is legally yours. You have every right to change the locks or request the return of all spare keys. I paused. Part of me wanted to change the locks immediately, cut them off completely. But another part, a colder, more calculating part, wondered, what if that spare key becomes useful someday? What if they're arrogant enough to use it without permission? That would be trespassing. That would be prosecutable. I put the keys in my purse. I'll think about it. Walking to my car, I held those 2 key sets in my hand. I made a decision. I'd leave things exactly as they were. And wait. I cried for 3 hours and 45 minutes on the drive back to Portland. My parents, they didn't say a word. But their eyes said everything. And the key in their possession, I let them keep it. Because one day I might need it as evidence. My sister Natalie has always been the golden child. Natalie Morrison Cruz, 27 years old, wedding planner, married to Javier Cruz, a restaurant manager, in 2023. She has 18,000 followers on Instagram at Natalie Wedding Magic, posting about floral arrangements and perfect bride moments and how to plan your dream day on a budget. Except her wedding wasn't on a budget. My parents paid $35,000 for it. Open bar, string quartet, venue overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. Natalie posted about every detail. I paid for my own architecture school tuition. When Natalie wanted to take a wedding photography course in 2021, my parents said they couldn't afford it. So I paid. $28,000. She never said thank you. Just posted on Instagram, so blessed to follow my passion. This is the pattern. Natalie gets. I give. And my parents act like it's natural. In August of 2025, Natalie posted a photo, twins, ultrasound. The caption read, "Double the blessings, baby A and baby B coming February 2026. Can't wait to be a mama ×2. 890 likes, 67 comments, all congratulations. 4 days later, my mother sent me an email. Subject, about the lake house. Body. We need to talk about Natalie's situation. Twins are expensive. That house is just sitting there. You're always traveling for work anyway. Family helps family, Julie." I didn't respond, but I started doing something else. I created a folder on my laptop, family_documentation, and I started saving everything. Because here's the thing, my job is documenting architectural truth. I'm a photographer for Northwest Design Quarterly, a luxury architecture magazine. I shoot homes, buildings, spaces. I capture light, shadow, the details other people miss. My camera is a Canon EOS R5. I have 64 gigabyte memory cards. My Lightroom catalog has over 47,000 photos. And if I can photograph a 15-degree angle of a house corner for a magazine to publish, I can sure as hell document what's happening in my own family. I started screenshotting texts, saving emails, recording calls. Not because I wanted to, because I knew what was coming. On September 3rd, 2025, at 7:18 p.m., my phone rang. Mom. I was in my studio in Portland, 1250 NW 9th Avenue, the Pearl District, editing photos from a Bend resort shoot. I answered, and I hit record on my voice memos app. Oregon is a one-party consent state. I only need my own permission. Hi, Mom. Julie, honey, have you thought about what I said? About the house? Her voice was sweet, practiced. I'm not forcing you, sweetheart, but twins will need space, and you're there alone. Do you really need a house that big? I let her talk for 23 minutes, guilt trip after guilt trip. Your sister is building a family. You'd still be able to visit. It's what Aunt Miriam would have wanted. When she finished, I said, Mom, let me think about it. I hit stop on the recording. Saved it. Mom_September 3rd _2025.m4a. And I smiled, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Because 3 weeks before that call, I'd already done something my family didn't know about. On August 3rd, 2025, Natalie announced her pregnancy. 12 weeks along. Twins. Due late February. On August 10th, my mother sent that first email. About the lake house. I didn't respond, but I knew. I'd seen this pattern my whole life. Natalie hits a milestone. I'm expected to sacrifice. On August 13th, 2025, at 2:30 in the afternoon, I walked into Adrian Castellano's office. Adrian is 51, Italian-American. He's been the publisher of Northwest Design Quarterly for 15 years. I've worked for him since 2019. He's not just my boss. He's a mentor. He's the kind of person who remembers your coffee order and asks how your shoots went and actually listens to the answer. I sat down across from him. Adrian, I need to tell you something. He looked up from his laptop. What's going on? My sister just announced she's pregnant with twins, and my mother already sent an email hinting that we need to talk about the lake house. I know what's coming. They're going to pressure me to give it to Natalie, or share it, or let her live there rent-free. Can they force you? Legally? No. The house is mine. Clear title. But emotionally, they'll guilt-trip me until I break. Family helps family. You're being selfish. Think of the babies. I've seen this pattern my whole life. Adrian leaned back in his chair. What do you want to do? I want to sell. Before they even start. And I want to sell to someone who will protect me if things get ugly. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Julie, I've known you for 6 years. You've never asked for anything. If you want to sell, I'll buy it. And I'll make sure they regret ever putting you in this position. He leaned forward. More than that, I'll host my annual gala there in November. 80 witnesses, professional security. If your family tries anything, they'll do it on camera, in front of everyone who matters in this industry. We shook hands. 2 weeks later, August 28th, 2025, 11:15 a.m., I sat in the Cascade Title office in Medford and signed the closing documents. Sale price, $1,220,000. I walked out with $201,340 after fees. Adrian's attorney, Sarah Pritchard, asked me one more time. Ms. Morrison, standard practice after a property sale is to change the locks immediately. Do you want us to arrange that? I paused. My parents have a spare key, from 2015. Aunt Miriam gave it to them for emergencies. All the more reason to change locks. They no longer have any legal right to access the property. I looked at Adrian. I know, but what if they use it anyway? Adrian understood slowly. You want them to, not want. But if they're dumb enough, arrogant enough, to walk in without permission after I've sold, that's criminal trespassing. On camera, with witnesses, at your gala. Adrian smiled. You're playing chess while they're playing checkers. Sarah added, if your parents attempt to enter after today, they'll be trespassing on Mr. Castellano's property, not yours. Which means criminal charges, not family drama. The deed was recorded with Jackson County that morning. Number 2, 025-08-28-00832. Public record. Anyone could look it up. But my parents wouldn't. Because they'd never imagine I'd sell without asking permission first. I drove back to Portland. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't change the locks. I didn't ask for the key back. I let them keep the weapon that would destroy them. 6 days later, my mother called, and the pressure campaign began. September 3rd to November 15th, 2025. 73 days, 47 phone calls, all recorded. My mother, my father, even Natalie once. The pattern was always the same. Start gentle, build to guilt, end with subtle threats. Call number 12, September 18th. Julie, your father and I have been patient. But this is getting ridiculous. Call number 23, October 2nd. If you don't help your sister, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. Call number 38, October 28th. People are starting to talk, Julie. They're asking why you're being so selfish. I recorded every single one. 18 hours and 32 minutes of audio. I transcribed them using otter.ai. $20 a month, worth every penny. Keywords tracked. Selfish appeared 31 times. Family appeared 89 times. Ungrateful appeared 12 times. And then there was September 18th, 2025. The coffee shop ambush. My mother texted me. Can we meet for coffee? Just the two of us. I want to understand where you're coming from. I agreed. Starbucks on Mercantile Drive in Lake Oswego, 30 minutes from Portland. I walked in at 10:42 a.m., ordered my grande cold brew, $4.95. And there, sitting next to my mother, was Natalie. Surprise. Natalie was 16 weeks pregnant. Her belly was just starting to show. She wore a fitted dress that made sure you noticed. Her eyes were already red. Julie. She stood up wobbly. I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to talk to you about the twins. She touched her stomach. Started crying. They're kicking so much already. I can't wait for them to grow up somewhere with nature, somewhere beautiful, like you had with Aunt Miriam. She wasn't kicking yet. Not at 16 weeks. She was lying. Or imagining. You don't need that house, Julie. You're always traveling for work. But me? I'm going to be a mom. Twins need space. Don't you understand? My mother reached across the table. We're not asking you to give it away, sweetheart. Just share it. Let Natalie raise the boys there. You can visit any time. It stays in the family. I let them talk for 41 minutes. My phone sat in my purse. Voice memos running. They didn't know I'd sold the house 3 weeks ago. They didn't know Adrian Castellano owned the property. They thought they were convincing me. In reality, I was documenting their attempts to manipulate me into giving away something I no longer even owned. The irony was almost funny. Almost. When they finished, I hugged Natalie. I said, "Let me think about it, okay?" I didn't say, "The house isn't mine anymore." I let them believe there was still a chance, because every call after that, every email, every ounce of pressure, it would all become evidence showing exactly how far they were willing to go. On the drive home, I smiled. The key they were holding? It was about to become a noose. On October 5th, 2025, my mother did something I should have expected but somehow didn't. She listed my house for sale, on the MLS, without my permission, using a forged signature. I didn't find out until October 8th. That's when Adrian's attorney called me. Julie, I was running title insurance prep for the November Gala, and I found something. The property is currently listed for sale on the MLS. That's impossible. Adrian owns it. I know, but someone listed it anyway. Agent Evelyn Morrison, Cascade Realty, listed October 5th for $1,095,000. Signature on the listing agreement, Julie Morrison. My mother, who's a licensed real estate agent, who absolutely knows how to check title records, which are public, online, free on the county website. Sarah Pritchard pulled the access logs. My mother had logged into the county title record system on October 4th at 8:42 a.m. She'd seen Adrian's name on the deed. She knew I no longer owned the property, and she listed it anyway. The listing description read, "Motivated seller, family situation requires quick sale, lake views, 4,100 square feet, priced to move." She was trying to create pressure, to manufacture a crisis, to force Adrian into reversing the sale by making the situation public within the real estate community. What she didn't anticipate? Adrian had better attorneys than she did. When Adrian called me, I didn't hesitate. File the complaint. Every single violation, I want her license gone. Sarah filed with the Oregon Real Estate Commission on October 12th, complaint number 2025-10-8832. Forgery. Unauthorized MLS listing. Fraudulent representation. My mother had just committed a crime, in writing, with her license number attached. Between September and early November, Natalie didn't just post on Instagram, she texted me 12 times. September 22nd, 2:18 p.m. "Hey sis, can Javier and I come measure the nursery bedrooms next weekend? Want to order furniture soon?" I replied the next morning, "Swamped with work deadlines right now. Let's connect in a few weeks." October 8th, 5:30 p.m. Ordered the cribs from Pottery Barn. Should I ship to Crater Lake address or have them delivered to your place first? October 8th, 6:15 p.m. Better wait on delivery. Still sorting some logistics with the house. October 20th, 11:22 a.m. What's the Wi-Fi password at the lake house? Want to set up baby monitors when we move in? I didn't have the Wi-Fi password. Adrian had changed it weeks ago. October 20th, 8:50 p.m. Don't have it handy. Will look later. November 3rd, 3:45 p.m. Paint swatches attached. Which blue for twins' room? She sent a photo. 4 shades of blue. Benjamin Moore. Breath of fresh air. Cotton balls. Hail navy. Palladian blue. November 4th, 7:20 a.m. All nice. Your call? Every text I screenshot and saved, every assumption she made, when we move in, our lake house, the twins' room, was evidence. Evidence that my parents had told her the house was hers, that they'd promised her something they had no right to promise. I never corrected her directly, because I wanted her to keep assuming, to keep posting, to keep ordering furniture. By early November, she'd posted 47 times on Instagram about our new lake house, nursery mood boards, paint swatches, furniture delivery countdowns. Her followers climbed from 18,000 to over 20,000. People were congratulating her, asking for nursery tours. She was building hype for a house she didn't own, for a house I'd sold 3 months earlier. And then, on November 12th at 9:08 a.m., she sent the text I'd been waiting for. Coming up Saturday, November 15th, to do surprise video tour for followers. So excited to show everyone. I stared at my phone. November 15th, the same day as Adrian's gala. I didn't respond. I just turned off my phone. And smiled. Chess. Not checkers. Adrian had been planning his annual Northwest Design Quarterly Gala since August, Theme: Architecture as Legacy. 80 confirmed guests: architects, designers, photographers, journalists, board members from the American Institute of Architects Oregon chapter, editors from Portland Architecture magazine. The venue: 8820 Crater Lake Highway. The house that used to be mine. Adrian hired caterers from Lark's Restaurant in Ashland. $12,000 budget. He hired an acoustic trio. $2,800. He installed a security system on October 30th. 8 cameras. A DT monitoring. 4,000 pixel resolution. Legal grade recording. $85 a month. And he left the locks unchanged. Schlage SC1. Brass. The same key my parents had been holding since 2015. On the morning of November 15th, 2025, I woke up at 6 a.m. I showered. I dressed in black. Simple. Professional. I packed my camera bag. Canon EOS R5. 3 lenses. Extra batteries. I drove to Crater Lake, 3 hours and 45 minutes. I stopped at the Starbucks at exit 62. Grande cold brew. Ritual. I arrived at the house at 11:30 a.m. Caterers were setting up. 12 tables, 80 chairs, bar station, string lights on the deck. The lake beyond. Glittering. Adrian found me in the kitchen. You ready for this? I've been ready for 3 months. He smiled. Whatever happens today, I want you to know, you deserve better than this. And they're about to learn that in front of everyone who matters. Guests started arriving at 1:45 p.m. By 2:30 p.m., the house was full. Conversations about sustainable architecture, adaptive reuse, historic preservation. The kind of talk I usually love. But I wasn't listening. I was watching the driveway. At 3:30 p.m., Adrian stepped to the front of the room, microphone in hand. He started his speech. Thank you all for being here. This year's theme, Architecture as Legacy, is close to my heart. Because architecture isn't just about buildings, it's about what we choose to protect, what we choose to honor. It's about boundaries. It's about... He paused. Because at exactly 3:38 p.m., a silver Toyota Highlander pulled into the driveway. My father got out first. 62 years old. Seattle Seahawks jacket, holding a brass key. Then Natalie, 27 weeks pregnant now. Belly visible under a fitted dress. Phone in hand, Instagram already open. Then Javier, her husband. Nervous, looking around. I watched from the window. Security camera angle 1 captured them from the entryway, angle 2 from the living room. Natalie started her Instagram live at 3:36 p.m., 128 viewers. Okay, you guys, we're here. Julie said we could check out the space anytime. She's so sweet. Let me show you the twins' future home. Javier whispered something. Natalie waved him off. My father walked to the front door. Put the brass Schlage key in the lock. Turned it. The door opened. At exactly 3:42 p.m., 80 people turned. My father froze. Key still in his hand. Trembling. Natalie's camera was pointed at the door. Live. 340 viewers now. Adrian was mid-sentence. Which is why, when someone violates the sanctity of a space... He looked at the door. Paused. We must respond with clarity. He set down his microphone. Excuse me, can I help you? My father stammered. This is my daughter's house. Adrian smiled. Calm. Actually, this is my house. I purchased it in August. From Julie. Do you have permission to be here? My father's face went white. Natalie's livestream comment section exploded. Wait, what? Is this real? Whose house? My mother pushed past my father. I hadn't even seen her get out of the car. She was wearing a blazer. Real estate agent mode. She pointed at Adrian. That house belongs to my daughter. You stole it. Adrian's voice didn't rise. I didn't steal anything, ma'am. I bought it 3 months ago in a legal transaction with a deed recorded in Jackson County. Public record. Sarah Pritchard, Adrian's attorney, stepped forward, business card in hand. Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, you're currently trespassing on private property. I suggest you leave before I call the sheriff. Natalie's phone slipped. The camera caught me, standing in the back, Canon camera in hand, photographing everything. Julie! Natalie's voice cracked. I walked forward, slowly. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Hi, Nat. I see you're showing off the house I sold 3 months ago to my boss, while trespassing, on Instagram Live. That's bold. Her livestream viewers hit 1,840. My father yelled. You sold our family's house? I corrected him. Calm. No, Dad. I sold my house. The one Aunt Miriam left to me. The one you've spent 3 months trying to guilt me into giving away. This is theft. No. This is property law. And you just used a key you no longer have any right to use, to enter a home you don't own, in front of 80 witnesses, and a sheriff. Sarah was already on her phone. Yes, I need to report a trespassing incident, 8820 Crater Lake Highway. Natalie dropped her phone. The screen cracked. The live stream kept running. 2,200 viewers. My mother's voice was shaking. How could you do this to us? I looked at her. How could I? You forged my signature. You listed this house on the MLS without my permission. You committed fraud. Using your real estate license. And you want to talk about betrayal? The room was silent. 80 people. Watching. At 4:12 p.m., Deschutes County Sheriff arrived. Officer Bradley Patterson. Badge number 2823. My father refused to leave. This is my daughter's house. The officer pulled up the deed on his phone. Sir, according to Jackson County records, this property is owned by Adrian Castellano as of August 28, 2025. You have no legal right to be here. Leave voluntarily, or I'm charging you with criminal trespass. My father started crying. Javier pulled Natalie toward the car. She was silent, staring. At 4:35 p.m., they left. The officer cited my father for criminal trespassing, Class C misdemeanor. Oregon Revised Statute 164.245. And when their car disappeared down the driveway, Adrian raised a glass of champagne. To boundaries. 80 voices echoed. To boundaries. Natalie's live stream ended at 4:48 p.m. 22,483 views. 3 hours later. And it was just getting started. Within 3 hours, Natalie's live stream had been screen recorded by 340 people. Reposted on TikTok, Twitter, Reddit. The subreddit r/entitled people had a thread with 42,000 upvotes by midnight. Woman livestreams surprise tour of lake house her sister gave her. Turns out sister sold it 3 months ago. 80 witnesses. Top comment, the sister is a photographer. She literally documents truth for a living. This family picked the wrong person to gaslight. 12,000 upvotes. By November 17th, Natalie's Instagram followers had dropped from 18,263 to 11,892. 6,371 unfollows in 48 hours. She deleted the live stream video at 6:30 p.m. on November 15th. Too late. It lived forever in screen recordings. The hashtag Crater Lake drama started trending in Portland. My parents called me 23 times between November 16th and 18th. I didn't answer. They left 8 voicemails. Average length, 3 minutes and 12 seconds. 14 text messages, 5 emails. November 16th, 11:42 p.m. Subject: What have you done? Julie, you made your father look like a criminal in front of strangers. You ruined Natalie's reputation. All for what? Revenge? That house was supposed to stay in the family. Aunt Miriam would be ashamed of you. I forwarded every message to Sarah Pritchard. Her response, sent to my mother. Ms. Morrison, any further contact with my client will be considered harassment. Your daughter has documentation of 3 months of coercion and your commission of forgery. Cease contact immediately. And then, on November 18th, an envelope arrived at my parents' house from the Oregon Real Estate Commission. Formal investigation. Complaint number 2025-10-8832. Forgery. Unauthorized MLS listing. Fraudulent representation. Hearing scheduled February 8th, 2026. License suspended pending investigation. My mother's real estate career hung by a thread. On November 22nd, Natalie called, not to apologize, to blame. You ruined Mom's career. The twins won't have a grandmother now. I met her anyway. Neutral location, same Starbucks, 2 p.m. She was 28 weeks pregnant, eyes swollen. Javier dropped her off, waited outside. I brought a file folder. Why didn't you just tell us you sold it? She asked. Why did you have to make it so public? I slid the folder across the table. I told you nothing because you never asked if it was okay to post about my house like it was yours. You assumed. Just like Mom and Dad assumed they could pressure me into giving it away. Inside, printed transcripts, 47 recorded calls, screenshots of my mother's forged MLS listing. Aunt Miriam's video will transcript. Natalie's own Instagram posts claiming ownership. She read the will transcript. The last line, if they take this from Julie, they're not my children. She really said that? Yes. And you helped them try. Natalie cried for 20 minutes. Then she left. I sat in my car and felt nothing. Adrian commissioned me in August to write a photo essay for Northwest Design Quarterly's December issue. Preserving Family Legacy Through Boundaries. I spent November writing, selecting 40 photos, Crater Lake House, Aunt Miriam's paintings, architectural metaphors for boundaries. The opening paragraph, legacy is not a birthright, it's earned through presence. My great-aunt understood this when she left me her lake house, not because I deserved it by blood, but because I showed up. For 8 years, I drove 3 hours and 45 minutes every weekend, while the rest of my family sent birthday cards. And when they tried to take what she'd given me, I did what I do best. I documented everything. 12 pages, 3,200 words, 40 photographs. But the most powerful part wasn't the photos, it was the QR code at the end. A link to Aunt Miriam's 47-second video will. The magazine published on December 15th, 2025. Issue number 118. Circulation, 45,000 print, 120,000 digital subscribers. Within a week, the video had been viewed 89,000 times. Comments flooded in. This is how you protect someone from beyond the grave. Legacy is showing up. I'm crying at my desk. But the real impact hit closer to home. Lake Oswego. Population 38,000. Small community. Country club gossip. My parents belong to Lake Oswego Golf Club. Monthly dues, $485. My father had been a member since 2005. After the magazine came out, his golf buddies stopped returning calls. 8 scheduled games canceled between December and January. My mother's book club went on hiatus indefinitely. At church, Lake Oswego United Methodist, people stared, whispered. The pastor reached out to check in. Translation. Everyone knew. One neighbor printed the magazine essay, left it in my parents' mailbox, anonymously. Social consequences. Delivered. On February 8th, 2026, My mother sat in the Oregon Real Estate Commission conference room in Salem for 3 hours and 15 minutes. The investigation had taken nearly 4 months, 118 days, digital forensics, witness interviews, a 47-page defense from her attorney arguing family misunderstanding. It didn't matter. The evidence was time-stamped, irrefutable. On February 14th, 2026, Valentine's Day, the ruling came down. 7 commissioners, 7 votes, unanimous. License number 200185593, revoked. Effective immediately. Prohibition on reapplication. 5 years minimum. My mother was 58 years old. Her career was over. She'd lose approximately $85,000 a year for the 7 years until retirement. $595,000 in total lost income, plus $43,800 in legal fees. At 6:30 p.m. on Valentine's Day, she called me. I didn't answer, but I saved the voicemail, 4 minutes and 12 seconds. She was crying, blaming me. "You destroyed my life." I listened once. Then I forwarded it to my therapist, Dr. Nina Castellano. I didn't reply, because I'd learned something important. You can't reason with people who refuse to see their own actions. You can only protect yourself from the fallout. My father's criminal trespass case processed on January 8, 2026. He pleaded no contest. His attorney advised him, a trial meant more public exposure. Fine, $1,000. Probation, 12 months. Restraining order, 500 yards from 8820 Crater Lake Highway. 2 years. Public record. Searchable on the Oregon Judicial Department website. His employer, Pacific Insurance Group, ran a background check review. He got a written warning. Meanwhile, my business was thriving. November 2024. Revenue, $12,800. December 2025 revenue, $28,900. January 2026 revenue, $31,200. But the real metric was projected bookings. I'd signed 8 contracts. Total value, $520,000 for 2026. A 215% increase in annual projected revenue. I raised my rates by 40%. Clients didn't blink. One email, February 3rd, from Cascade Mountain Resorts. "Julie, we're commissioning you for our Bend Resort project specifically because of your essay. We want a photographer who understands boundaries, who documents truth, who can't be pressured into making our spaces look like something they're not. Your rate increase is worth it." Contract value, $85,000. The largest single project of my career. And then, on February 12, 2026, I received an email from the Pacific Northwest Architecture Association. Subject: Award notification, excellence in architectural storytelling. My essay had won Regional Journalism Award, Oregon, Washington, Idaho. The ceremony was at the Nines Hotel in Portland. 180 attendees. Prize, $2,500. Trophy, local news coverage. I gave a 30-second speech. Aunt Miriam taught me to see beauty, but she also taught me something harder, that protecting beauty sometimes means saying no. Thank you for recognizing that not all architecture stories are about buildings. Some are about the boundaries we build to protect ourselves. Standing ovation. KGW News ran a 3-minute segment the next day. The clip went viral on TikTok. After the ceremony, a woman approached me, crying. "My brother is trying to take my mother's house. Can you help?" I gave her my attorney's card. On January 15th, 2026, at 5:18 a.m., Natalie's twins were born. 4 weeks premature. 36 weeks gestation. Oliver, 5 pounds, 11 ounces. Elliot, 5 pounds, 8 ounces. Healthy. I got a text from Javier. Not Natalie, not my parents. "Julie, Twins born this morning, premature but healthy. Boys. Natalie wanted you to know. I sat with that text for 3 days. Called my therapist. Dr. Castellano said, "You don't owe anyone an immediate response, not even newborns." On January 18th, I replied, "Tell her congratulations. What are their names?" "Oliver and Elliot. She's crying. Thank you for responding." I didn't visit the hospital. My parents were there. And I'd made a promise to myself. No contact means no contact, even for births. On February 1st, 2026 at 6:18 a.m., Natalie posted on Instagram. The photo. Her face. No filter. Tear-stained. Hair messy. Hospital bracelet still on. The caption. I owe my sister Julie a public apology. 3 months ago, I live-streamed breaking into a house I thought was ours. A house Julie had sold months before. I never asked her permission to post about it. I never questioned when my parents said she'd donate it. I assumed I was entitled to her inheritance because I'm married, pregnant, and she's single. I was wrong. I humiliated her, myself and my family on camera because I didn't respect her boundaries. I let my parents manipulate me into believing their narrative without checking the truth. Julie, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. But I'm in therapy now. I'm learning that family isn't about taking, it's about showing up. Like you did for Aunt Miriam for 8 years. I should have learned that from watching you. These boys deserve better than what I modeled. I'm trying to be better. Hashtag accountability. Hashtag boundaries. Hashtag postpartum reflection. 2,847 likes. 890 comments. Mixed. Growth is hard. Respect for owning it publicly. This feels performative. You only apologized because you got caught. I screenshot the post. Didn't reply. But 6 days later, Natalie called. February 7th, 8:45 p.m. I picked up. Julie, I know sorry isn't enough, but I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking if you'd be willing to meet your nephews. Not for me, for them. So they know their Aunt Julie exists. Even if you decide you can't have a relationship with me. I asked. Are Mom and Dad pressuring you to call me? No, they don't even know I'm calling. I cut them off financially. Moved to a smaller apartment. I'm paying my own rent now. Javier and I are on our own. When did that happen? January 20th. Right after they tried to convince me you stole their family home and I needed to sue you. I told them to stop. They wouldn't. So I left. Call duration. 23 minutes. I said yes. Under conditions. The next morning, I texted. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Starbucks on Burnside. Bring the boys, come alone. February 8th, 2026. 2 p.m. Natalie arrived on time. Double stroller. Dark circles under her eyes. The twins were 3 weeks old. Tiny. Sleeping. I held Oliver first. 12 minutes. Blue onesie. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. Then Elliot. 8 minutes. Gray onesie. 5 pounds, 14 ounces. I didn't talk much. Just observed. Natalie didn't push. Didn't ask for photos. Didn't post. At 2:45 p.m., 45 minutes exactly, I stood to leave. Nat, I can have a relationship with them, but it's conditional. You stay in therapy. You respect my boundaries. No posting about me without permission. And if Mom or Dad pressure you to manipulate me again, you tell me immediately, or we're done. Understood? She nodded, crying. Understood. Thank you for coming. That's more than I deserve. It's not about what you deserve. It's about what they deserve. They didn't choose this family. I walked to my car and cried. Not from forgiveness, from grief, because part of me wished my parents could have been the kind of people who'd raised a sister I could trust. 2 days later, I sent a check. $500. Memo. Oliver and Elliot, college fund start. With a note. Natalie. This $500 is for Oliver and Elliot's college fund. Open a 529 savings account in their names. Send me confirmation. If you spend this on anything else, we're done. They deserve a chance their grandmother tried to steal from me. Julie. She opened a Fidelity 529 account the same day, texted me a screenshot. I saved it. It wasn't reconciliation. It was insurance. Those boys would have one family member who believed in boundaries, even if I was the only one. Today is February 15th, 2026. 3 months since the break-in. I'm sitting in my studio. 1250 Northwest 9th Avenue. Pearl District, morning coffee, Stumptown Hairbender blend, 9:30 a.m. Rain outside, typical February in Oregon. My calendar is full. 8 contracts signed. $520,000 projected for 2026. I've expanded the studio. 1,200 square feet now. Hired an assistant photographer, a part-time paralegal consultant. Because people keep reaching out. Not just for architecture photography, for consultation. Family property documentation. Women who are being pressured by siblings, by parents, by in-laws, who need to know how to record calls, organize evidence, protect themselves. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice, but I can teach people how to document, how to build a case before they need one. Last week, I got an email from Portland Architecture Week organizers, August 10th through 17th, 2026. They want me to speak about ethics, boundaries, and architectural documentation. Honorarium, $3,500. Audience, 200 to 300 people. I said yes. Under one condition, I tell my story my way. No sugarcoating, no family reconciliation narrative, just truth. A gallery in Portland, Blackfish Gallery, reached out about an Aunt Miriam retrospective. Fall 2026, 24 paintings. Proceeds to Portland Women's Crisis Center. I haven't decided if I'll attend the opening. Aunt Miriam's art deserves to be seen, but watching strangers buy pieces of her life, I don't know if I'm ready. And my parents? 0 contact since November 15th, 2025. 3 months. 2 letters sent. Both unopened. Forwarded to my therapist. They're keeping to themselves in Lake Oswego. Socially isolated. Neighbors report they rarely leave the house. I have no plans to change that. Natalie? Cautious progress. Second visit scheduled for February 22nd. Coffee shop. 1 hour. The twins are healthy. Oliver. 7 pounds, 1 ounce. Elliot. 6 pounds, 12 ounces at 4 weeks. My business is thriving. My mental health is the best it's ever been. I sleep well. No guilt. No second guessing. Just boundaries. And peace. People ask if I'll ever forgive my parents. I don't know. But I've learned forgiveness isn't required for peace. Boundaries are. Let me tell you what I've learned. This story isn't just about a house. It's about something deeper. My family spent 3 months trying to manipulate me into giving away what Aunt Miriam left me. Not just property. My dignity. My autonomy. My right to say no. They used guilt, manipulation, forgery, trespassing. They assumed I'd cave, because I always had before. They were wrong. I didn't win because I got lucky. I won because I documented everything. Because I sold the house before they could pressure me into giving it away. Because I let them walk into a room full of witnesses holding a key they thought still worked. People ask if I regret how public it got. The live stream, the magazine essay, the criminal charges. And I tell them, privacy is what abusers count on. My family spent 3 months trying to manipulate me behind closed doors. I brought it into the light. Not for revenge, but for proof. Aunt Miriam left me a lake house. But the real legacy? She taught me that no is a complete sentence, That documentation is self-defense. That love without boundaries isn't love, it's control. I'm Julie Morrison. I'm 32 years old and I'm free. If you're in a situation like mine, if family is demanding your time, your money, your property, your peace, I want you to know, you're not selfish for saying no, you're not cruel for setting boundaries, and you're not paranoid for keeping receipts. You're protecting yourself. And that's not just okay, it's necessary. Protecting your peace is not selfish. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no.